I hope everybody's doing well. I am going to be starting off today by talking about something that I have wrestled with for so long or come to grips with concerning breaking some old patterns. I want to start here um, when it comes down to your growth and development as a person because I wanted to speak on my own firsthand experiences within my growth journey. And, you hear that old saying to expect the unexpected, but I'm going to tell y'all something right now. Expect the unexpected when it comes down to breaking old patterns. And remember that. Remember I said that because it's going to hit you. Some days it comes in like a wave, and I'm just thinking about it now. How this week alone, um, the old wave of what I used to do, how I used to overfunction, how I used to make myself readily available, um, because it was a survival mode pattern. It was a pattern that I had developed since a young age to be more alert, to be more on guard, to be more hyper vigilant. I moved at a capacity of hyper vigilant overdrive to the point, just thinking about it now in my adolescence, I was on guard everywhere I went. This was a pattern that I had picked up. I started tracking people's emotional moods. I had even gotten to the point that I was listening to people's tone, listening to, the frequency in the voice. I know it sounds strange to some, but this is the ability that I honestly have. I can be around somebody, even if I'm not around you. I can tell by your tone over the phone. I study people's body language. Not even just, I'm being honest, I think once I went off to school to get my degree for therapy to understand psychology as well, that heightened it even more. And I became more attuned and sharp in ways that I wasn't expecting. But some of those things I naturally had picked up from survival mode. And these patterns, they came about and to the point where I was tracking people's moods, tracking people's just the nuances of how they filtrated in their life. All of this came again from survival mode. This is something that I dealt with as a child, and I still have those moments where I'll get triggered. And I have gotten to the point now where I have to put my hand on my chest and do breathing exercises to bring myself back to center within me and say, you're not in hypervigilance anymore. You do not have to overextend your brain bandwidth to understand why somebody is the way they are. This is a pattern that I have picked up, and it's so slowly dwindling down. I am recalibrating. I am refocusing on myself. I'm recentering me around me. I shot a video back in November, and I spoke to how I am returning back to myself, not returning back to myself in the survival pattern, but returning back to myself and learning me. When you learn yourself, you learn to understand and expect, the unexpected. There are going to be times and moments where you're going to just inadvertently sit in that space of survival mode sometimes. It's going to come and go. It's going to come in waves. It's going to fade off. This week, I had the urgency to want to go check on somebody who I had got to know a great deal about and care for this person. But I stopped myself because what I realized was, am I trying to go check on this person because of the survival instinct that used to be in me? Am I checking on them to scratch an itch? Am I checking on them to genuinely make sure they're okay? And that was, of course, at the forefront because I really wanted to make sure this person was okay. But what I did not do, I did not contact this person. I did not reach, not because I didn't care. I didn't reach because I realized it was a pattern that I had fallen into, which was overly compensating. I speak to times where I have empathy and compassion because they are important, and you need those things. These are parts of us that we need. We need to understand ourselves, but we also need to understand the importance of not over functioning in that capacity. I've had people tell me that I've taken on a nurturing role, that I um, want to make sure everybody is okay. That is me to a fault, but it was also me in my survival mode. That is still my qualities now, but I'm a mother, I'm a nurturer. I make sure mine is taken care of course. But at the same time, we can overfunction in that capacity when it comes to other people if we're not careful when we're in that pattern cycle of survival mode. It will cause you to overfunction. It will cause you to take on emotions and thoughts and feelings of other people's that are not yours. I used to have this moments where there were people around me that I truly, truly still do care about, but I begin to worry about them more than I worried about myself. I begin to worry about their well-being, and I'm being honest with you, I put mine on the back burner, and I realized then I was in a pattern and a cycle. After sitting down and having a long, thorough discussion with somebody, they said, "Miss Hall, you were operating from survival mode still. You have to find a way to break the pattern, even though you're in a space where you've gotten better. A lot of the traumatic experiences that you have dealt with, they have passed through, and you are doing very well. These are things that you're going to be able to connect with your client about. But the most important thing here is breaking the cycle, not breaking the cycle of not caring, not, having, this is not me saying, oh, my heart is dead. And I don't know, this is Wanda saying that sometimes when we are in survival mode, we overcompensate. We will take that looking glass and mirror, and we often don't do this. We don't look at ourselves. Um, we're operating from a space of that inner child, that inner wound. It could be a mother wound. It could be a wound of not being loved thoroughly, or a wound of being closed off. That's the wound that I had. I was closed off a lot because I didn't want to face myself in the mirror at one point. Um, but now that I have begun to put in the work, I realize that it is very important that not only do I continuously work on myself, I'm not perfect. I still have a ways to go, but I also know in order for me to get to where I want to be, that my focus has to be primarily on myself and the avenue of not over functioning, not overcompensating. Sometimes we have, wounds within us and we overcompensate in trying to protect others. I know that I took on that role of being very protective of other people. And I know other people who know me well enough, they picked up on it more than likely. Or they probably thought within themselves, why is Wanda always trying to protect me? Why is Wanda always trying to, I always tried to make sure other people were good. But very rarely did I make sure that Wanda was good. I always tried to make sure other people were good. But that was to a fault. That was not, I still am that way now, but I understand the importance of making sure I'm good. This is why self care is important because, there's some days I get up and I'm like, oh my God, I don't have anything to worry about. But that's the peace of knowing that I am free from a pattern and a cycle of overcompensating now. Sometimes when we overcompensate, our happiness, our joy, our peace, we shrink and we become small in the matter, not because the person that we're helping, they're not intentionally making us do it. We're doing it because we're doing it to survive, or we've learned to pick up that pattern and repeat it. So again, here, I just wanted to tell you, encourage you, you in closing with this. There are going to be patterns that you are going to have to break as an individual. Take that looking glass and look at yourself and ask you, are you operating from a cycle of necessity, or are you operating in the true who and being of who you are as a person? Because sometimes we will often just operate from a wounded space and we don't realize it. Do not try to fix other people. I encourage you to look at yourself, hold yourself accountable.